Chaos and unrest in Washington tonight after protests broke out while Congress met for the final process of the 2020 presidential election. Thank you for joining us. I'm Molly Koweek. James Brown is on special assignment. We want to start with a live look from Washington, D.C., where 6 hours after violent protesters forced lawmakers to evacuate, they returned to their chambers to debate the contesting of the electoral votes. This after Congress had to halt the vote certification when protesters stormed the Capitol building. You can see they climbed walls, broke windows, and vandalized offices to get into the Capitol. That was the moment leading up to when someone shot a woman inside of the Capitol. We've since learned that woman died from her injuries. Right now, there is no word on why she was inside the building or what led to the shooting. This brings us back live to Capitol Hill, where multiple lawmakers who intended to contest the vote have since shifted, saying they will not object. News Center 7's Blair Miller is standing by outside of the Capitol to explain what comes next from Congress in this very, very historic night where there is certainly so much going on and a lot to process there. But first, several members of Congress from both parties have already called this day historic, sad, and an attack on our democracy. So we want to bring in Dr. Mark Caleb-Smith, director of the Center for Political Studies at Cedarville University. Dr. Smith, I want to play for you the way our president and president-elect responded today.
We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now.
To storm the Capitol, to smash windows, to occupy offices, the floor of the United States Senate, rummaging through desks, on the Capitol, on the House of Representatives, threatening the safety of duly elected officials. It's not protest, it's insurrection.
So, Dr. Smith, with 2 weeks left in this administration, what do you expect these next 2 weeks to look like?
You know, they could be very explosive. I mean, it's very possible that we'll see efforts to impeach the president and Congress. There are also some people calling for the invocation of the 25th Amendment and thereby removing the president by a vote of his cabinet. And so the next 2 weeks could be very eventful. On the other hand, President Trump maybe is going to lay low from this point forward, and they'll be pretty quiet. Right now, we just simply don't know.
So much to pay attention to in D.C. So 50 years from now, what are people going to be remembering about this day?
You know, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but for me, it's seeing this kind of activity within the people's house. You know, for me as an American citizen, this is a sacred space. And for them to be on the floor of the Congress, for them to be desecrating that space, is just something I'm going to never forget. And so hopefully this will help us come together. Hopefully this will help us heal. Hopefully something good will come out of this.
All right. We will certainly can have some hope for that. Dr. Mark Caleb-Smith, thank you so much for joining us on this historic night.